The first thing I want to ask you, Hannah, welcome of course, is that that song, right? How many times did you sing it in that film? Because it went on and on and on in my ears.
Yeah. Oh, I should count it now, but I guess I've been singing it too much. But when I asked Fassbinder to take some of it out because it really got on my nerves, then he said, "Well, that's what I want."
Fassbinder being the director
Yeah,
who made the
yeah.
film and who is a director
Yeah.
that you worked with quite a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, something about
Yeah.
his films or something about your acting gels, in other words, yes?
We both went into the movies together because we met at acting school, and when he started movie making, it was with me, and all of his first films I've been working in them.
Hmm. This is the first film that's going to become sort of seen by more people than, say, your others. You know, the Maria Braun, for instance, is one which would be counted as an art film, perhaps, wouldn't it? It's not
Yeah.
not well known. And this, in fact, is the first time that you would be known here, I suppose, to a larger audience, yes?
Well, that film was kind of a new experience for both of us because for him and for me, it was like the first step being consciously taking into reaching a wide, broad audience.
But in Germany, you've already become a big name, a hot name in films. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, you don't eat as hot as you as you cook it. Let's say it that way.
But there you are extremely popular, well known,
Yeah,
a sex symbol,
Oh.
correct? Yes?
In Germany, no.
No.
No, in Germany my reputation has grown kind of steadily, sort of going by through definitions like anti-star, because I in the beginning I kind of was afraid of going through becoming a star, though I always wanted to do acting for being known also. I mean, I'm not doing acting for doing it in some small corner. But I was kind of worried that it could do some change to me that I wouldn't want, like sort of stopping to be the person that's on inside you because you want too much to satisfy what they can sell of you.
So is it right, because one goes by a lot by what the press say about people like yourself, the press says that you in fact really dropped out for quite a while after that initial success you had. You did?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, I didn't stop completely acting because I had to live on it still, but compared to what I did the first 4 years, we did about 12 movies with Fassbinder. Then I did maybe 2 movies in 3 years. And yeah, I sort of stopped it because I didn't like myself up there anymore.
Then what was yourself like up there? I mean, the words that come to mind when you think of somebody reaching a high peak of stardom is brittle, wanted too much worldly things, or those are the sort of things that people think stars become. I mean, is that what you were worried about becoming?
Oh no, I wasn't worried about becoming, I was worried about being. I kind of, the last story I did was Effie Breeze, and it was a story about a woman that got suffocated by the way her life went, and it looked sort of kind of successful and everything, but the way she felt was totally different. And the way I was, the way the story went and everything, sort of, when I looked at it finally, I saw that I got into some kind of frozen thing up there, which was good for the story but not so good for me. So I felt some pain about it and I just left.
Do you get terribly involved as you make a film with a character that you're taking on then? Because that suggests that you do, that you get extremely involved with the...
You better do, because otherwise you have nothing to transmit. it kind of always is a sign of that the film will penetrate in some way if the experience you're representing in the film sort of you're going through it in some parallel way in your life. And with the movies that came through well, it was like that. Like with Lily Marlene, it was like stepping into some kind of career which made me all of a sudden confront another kind of press that I was that I used to, and with Maria Brown, it made me conscious of you better stop reaching out too far for ideals because you're gonna miss life and stuff like that. If you don't feel like it's really part of you that you're burning in that kind of story, then I don't. I mean, the way I am, that makes it, that gives it some strength.
You were very interesting yesterday, last week, when I saw you do the thing with the press. They were asking you to go out, take your coat off, and show your legs, weren't they?
No, they weren't really asking me that, but
what
I
were they
felt they were
asking?
kind of they gonna ask me that any minute. I felt so. I just sat down on a bench and thought, well, sitting on a bench, they can't really ask me for anything that I don't want to do. So okay, but
the paper, as reported it as being this girl who is willing to take her clothes off in the films is not willing to take her fur coat off to show her legs. But you were quite tough with them. You were quite sure that this was not, you know, I am myself, I thought you were saying, and please don't ask me to do this.
Yeah, I was trying to get that through. I mean, in the beginning I was even sort of trying to be a good girl with them, and when they said, look here, look there, you do, because otherwise either you don't go there or you do. But then when they come up with a smile or don't smile and look a little bit more sexy, then I mean, then you have to stop that nonsense.
You were born in Poland, and you left Poland as your family left. You left when you were about 2.5. So does Poland mean anything to you, Hanna?
Yeah, it does, because a part of my family stayed there. And so there was always a connection going. Then also when I was being a kid, when we came to Bavaria with a name like that, the kids just would call me the Polish Polenmats, Polish maid or something like that. So that made me conscious that though being German, I'm also not German, which in fact I liked. Because it allowed me having fantasies about being different. And anyway, I just found like what was going on around me always gave me the feeling of not being enough large or exciting. So I had from being a child on sort of a drive to go and hit another world.
Do you mean that that because of coming from one country, living in another, but being sort of taunted in that country about being Polish, so therefore it's being emphasized that you're an outsider?
What is taunted?
Taunted means when somebody is saying something in order to get a reaction from you.
Yeah. I remember I didn't care so much. It's sort of I knew we have been refugees, and my parents talked to me German, but I always was very attracted by foreigners anyway. That's where I used to go and look and feel good with. So I like that.
I was just wondering whether something of your feeling of wanting, of running away from something that's taking you over is to do with feeling perhaps an outsider. I read in translation your autobiography.
My 20-page biography.
Your 20-page biography, which you do in very staccato notes, or at least that's how it's translated.
Yeah.
And part of that was that you did seem to object and revel in being an outsider at that point? That you know, you wanted to be different as you... You seem to catch on to that very early on. I mean, why do you think that? Have you got any idea why?
I don't know. I have my theories about it, but finally it's sort of a mystery, the kind of things. Why? One reason must have been that I felt that everything was kind of too tight around me. Too tight and not and that I had difficulties about really identifying with what was going on, though I could always adapt. And so also maybe because I don't know what that comes from, that I wanted maybe to be different from what I was. So as I wanted to I was, my fantasy had been going in these directions. And as for in my family, there is no tradition in art or things like that. There was for me no concrete plans to do this or that. I remember being a child, I wanted to be a dancer, but I wouldn't even talk about it to my mother. Because
would she disapprove of that? Would she have disapproved of that?
No, she would have said, well, you know, no, we can't afford, and it's very nice, but you don't really need, and all this.
But then somebody at school, was it one teacher, said to you once, you're going to be somebody special.
Yeah, well, that was much later.
And then when she said that, did you recognize that? Did you think, yes, perhaps I am going to be?
It's difficult to remember the kind of feeling I had for me. I was trying to figure that out, but it seems to me like it was almost a double feeling. Like I thought, well, there's one now who yeah, that's the way it is, and on the other hand, I remember having always been also very complex and kind of introverted. So that was kind of a shock to me too. That and I deep down I would say to me, yes, he thinks it, but no, it's not true. That kind of double reaction, which in fact probably stays with you all of your life once it's born in you.
Not an introvert part that you just played, Lily Marlene, quite a sort of expansive part. So that's quite a relief, is it, to play that, if you're an introvert yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's why I've become an actress, to kind of balance that part in my nature.
You're determined not to get married, I read.
Yeah. No, it's, well...
Why?
I always thought, like, I wonder that it's still done. I mean, I mean, people, if they want to live together, they just live together. Why? It's good for taxes, though. But I mean, apart
it's good for company.
No, I mean living together, yes. But why unless you believe in church and you don't do that kind of ceremony. But if it's just for getting from the state a kind of stamp that you've become an orderly citizen and everything's going all right. Thank you very much. No, I always thought that living together with no confirmation from outside is better.
Have you got thoughts that, since you were born in Poland, about Poland at the moment?
Yeah. I thought Poland was really carrying a lot of hope for East and West. For the West, let's talk about us first. I thought that if Poland can make it, that they can object to what the big giant behind them want them to do, then there is hope for any kind of disobedience from a consciousness that wants to improve things and get more life into politics. But and for the Eastern country, well, it was like seeing communism develop into maybe a more adequate form for people, because what's happening in Russia now is like I don't know, the stores are empty but the prisons are full and people aren't. It's a whole lot of. It's not. It hasn't been a liberation for people.
You were very involved in politics in Germany for a while, were you not? And
I was involved whenever there was really something going on from alternative sides, meaning like I've been involved in '68, and I'm involving myself now, trying to avoid any kind of party, because I just can't do that.
you
I
can't.
just feel so uncomfortable being manipulated with any kind of group spirit there. But I feel also like having success sort of, what are you going to do with that? It's a power that you should use. So now that Germany has had some kind of big wake-up caused by realizing that whenever things are going wrong with atomic bombs and war, and then it's them. So, and also ecological questions have become very important. So there is politics is kind of are getting more interesting now, and there's something to fight for.
Well, thank you very much. It's become to the end of this interview, but I must say that one thing is obviously what you're trying to do is avoid a stamp, the stamp of marriage, the stamp of politics, the stamp of superstar. Best of luck.
Well, man is full of contradiction, isn't he?